Hey gamers, the beat-em-up genre is making a massive comeback, and 2026 to 2027 is shaping up to be one of the best eras for fans of pure action, brutal combos, and non-stop arcade chaos, featuring explosive combat, unique characters, and some of the most exciting projects you definitely don't want to miss. In this video, we're counting down 25 best upcoming beat-em-up games you should add to your wish list, 2026 to 2027. So without further ado, let's get started. Vegelypse is an upcoming 2.5D roguelite beat-em-up from developer Jumblecat Studios that pairs high-energy combat with a delightfully absurd premise. You play as members of the hard rock cacti band, whose concert is suddenly interrupted by an army of mutated produce monsters. It blends vibrant hand-painted aesthetics with deep roguelite progression systems, and because of that, Vegelypse features perks, randomized modifiers, and an evolution system, giving players plenty of reasons to replay each run and experiment with different builds. Red Rust, it's an upcoming indie title from Artsource Digital that basically takes old-school beat-em-up violence and shoves it face-first into a Contra-style run-and-gun shooter. Takes place, it's an alternate 1984 where Comrade Stalin is a full-blown cyborg running the USSR. You play as Agent Red, a ruthless KGB operative sent on a time-travel mission to beat the hell out of street gangs, rogue agents, and giant mechanical abominations in the West. And yup, every level capstone is a giant, multi-stage robotic nightmare that requires actual timing and pattern recognition, so don't expect to just mash buttons and pray. Before we continue to the video, I want to give you a recommendation to buying games in this modern era, and that's it, ENEBA. ENEBA is a digital marketplace made for gamers, with over 40,000 products available. You can find PC games, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo titles, gift cards, in-game currency, and a lot more all in one place. What makes it really worth checking out is the pricing. A lot of the deals are cheaper compared to official stores, and there are cashback offers too, which helps you save even more. What I also like is they support a lot of different payment methods, so you've got flexibility depending on what you usually use. They also offer secure payments and 24/7 customer support, which makes the whole experience feel a lot more polished and trustworthy when you're buying games. If you like getting great games at better prices or just want more value for your money, ENEBA is honestly one of the best places to check before buying anything. So if you're a smart guy, then you already know exactly what to do. All you have to do is click my link in the description below, search for your favorite games, and redeem the game code you already paid for. And by using my link, you'll not just get awesome deals, but also help me support this channel. Alright then, let's get back to the list. Flux Heroes, it's an arcade-style side-scrolling beat-em-up that dropped into Steam Early Access. Developed by FunMax, it chucks the usual RPG fluff out the window to focus entirely on pure, high-freedom combat. The combat feels fast, fluid, and rewarding. Like juggling enemies and maintaining momentum becomes the core of the experience, making every encounter feel more dynamic and satisfying. If you lose a fight, the answer isn't finding a stronger weapon or grinding for better stats. It's improving your timing, learning enemy patterns, and mastering your movement, and you can grab up to 2 friends on the couch to beat up crowds together, and make sure you have someone to play with. Eight Dragons 2 is an old-school arcade-style beat-em-up where you and your mates stroll down pixelated streets to beat the absolute daylights out of corporate thugs, corrupt politicians, and street punks. And yeah, the big gimmick is right in the name, it supports up to 8 players locally. Good luck fitting 8 fully grown human beings in front of one monitor without someone getting elbowed in the ribs for real. You get 8 distinct characters, each with their own minor quirks, but the gameplay loop is as straightforward as it gets. Punch, kick, grab, throw, and crack skulls with whatever baseball bat or pipe you find lying on the pavement. Yup, it plays like an homage to classic 90s brawlers like Streets of Rage or Double Dragon, just dialed up with modern local multiplayer madhouse energy. Blades and Battles. It's a retro-inspired 2.5D beat-em-up developed and published by Q-Byte Interactive. If you ever wasted your lunch money on Golden Axe back in the day, congratulations. You're old, and this game is specifically designed to bait your nostalgia. Instead of generic barbarians, you get shoved into the shoes of a young, rough-around-the-edges King Arthur or his pal Lancelot before they had their fancy round table nonsense figured out. And the game supports local split-screen and online co-op, so you can drag a buddy along to carry you when you inevitably die to the first boss. If you like bashing goblins on a Saturday night with a beer in hand and 0 brain cells deployed, keep your eyes on this one. Spark Hunt is an indie 2.5D beat-em-up built in Unreal Engine by a solo Ukrainian developer, Oleksandr Zapisochny. It tries to hit that sweet nostalgic spot of 90s arcade brawlers. The 3D models and combat animations look decent, but the lighting can look like a moody, low-contrast, washed-out mess. Turn up your monitor brightness or you'll be fighting pixels in the dark. Since it's built by a single guy, the sound design and hit feedback in early demos faced some community critiques for sounding a bit soft. Think fighting with heavy pillows instead of metal pipes, but the core combo system and arcade pacing are surprisingly tight. It's an ambitious indie brawler built under tough, real-world conditions, giving you an actual combat system instead of mindless spamming. Underling Uprising is a fast-paced 2D beat-em-up by Dummy Dojo that plays like an aggressive, chaotic 90s cartoon. You play as a bunch of mutated lab experiments wrecking everything in sight to get back at the mad scientist who made you. The combat, it's actually surprisingly smooth. Runs on a free-flow system so you can juggle goons, animation cancel, air dash, and pop screen clearing supers when your bar fills up. You can even hijack mounts like mech suits and space pods because punching people by hand gets tiring. You can even play this game 4-player co-op, so you can expect how lonely you are if you can't play this with your friends. City of Rampage. It's an indie 2D beat-em-up developed by Cengiz Tasbolatov. If you've ever played Streets of Rage or Comic Zone, you already know the vibe. Hand-drawn comic book art, heavy synth/metal-infused audio, and beating down endless waves of street punks. The difficulty curve is brutal right out of the gate. Tight parry windows, unforgiving enemy hitboxes, and spongy goons mean you'll be staring at death screens fast if you play lazy. Heavy hand-drawn comic book aesthetic mixed with synth-heavy brawler music. And unlike traditional arcade beat-em-ups where you drag a friend along to carry you, this thing focuses strictly on solo survival. You're on your own out there.
Sometimes you gotta be willing to throw the first punch.
The Walking Dead, Streets of Survival is an upcoming 2D retro beat-em-up. Think classic Streets of Rage, except covered in zombie guts and AMC fan service. You're dragged back into the TV show's all-out war era. That means dealing with Negan, the Saviors, and endless waves of biters across familiar spots like Alexandria, Hilltop, and the Sanctuary. In this game, you get 3 choices: Rick Grimes with revolver, Michonne with katana, and Daryl Dixon with crossbow. Each has their own skill tree, stats, and signature finisher moves, so you can stop button mashing like a toddler for 5 seconds. And of course, if you're a fan of Walking Dead, this one is a must-have. Pizza Kid is a fast-paced, high-octane retro beat-em-up where you play as a pizza delivery kid who has to beat the living hell out of local punks, weirdos, and ridiculous bosses just to deliver a pizza on time. You're a underpaid delivery kid who takes deliver in 30 minutes or it's free way too seriously. Instead of politely ringing doorbells, you beat your way through horde after horde of street trash to make sure the cheese stays warm. Gameplay: fast side-scrolling combat packed with quick combos, dodge mechanics, wall jumps, and absurd special moves. Think classic arcade beat-em-ups merged with precision platforming. Lady Death Demonicron, an old-school side-scrolling beat-em-up that basically takes 90s arcade nostalgia, slaps huge swords on it, and blasts industrial metal directly into your eardrums. Yup, this is a 15-level hack-and-slash brawler meant to feel like the unholy love child of Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, and Mortal Kombat. You play as Lady Death, slicing up demonic goons across reality while using dark sorcery and heavy metal riffs to survive. It's ridiculous, gory, hyper-stylized 90s trash metal goodness. If you like mashing buttons to slice demons in half, it's pretty much built for you. Mayhem Brawler 2 Best of Both Worlds is shaping up to be an absolute banger if you're into beat-em-ups, beatdowns, and non-stop action. Hero Concept Games took everything that worked in the first game and dialed the absurdity and style up to 11. It's 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up with roguelite RPG mechanics. You can bring up to 3 other idiots online or on the couch to steal your food pickups and drop your combos. It keeps the crisp 90s Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic of the first game, just with way more fluid animation and bigger, nastier sprites. With over 8 playable fighters across both timelines, each with their own distinct tech, special moves, and dynamic playstyles so you can stop spamming the same combo over and over. Takeover 2 is here to remind you that your reflexes aren't what they used to be. Developed by solo dev Pelican 13, it's the direct sequel to 2019's The Takeover, basically a giant, loud love letter to 90s arcade classics like Streets of Rage and Final Fight. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel or tricking you with RPG skill trees you'll never read, Takeover 2 keeps it wonderfully simple. You walk to the right, you see angry weirdos on the street, and you smack them until they stop moving. So yeah, if you've ever played Streets of Rage or Final Fight and thought, yeah, this is great, but I'd love to beat a guy over the head with a traffic cone, this is right up your alley. Ghost Vanguard is an indie 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up roguelite where you play as a resurrected warrior stripped of memories, diving into procedurally generated dungeons to beat down a dark god. Every run you die, lose your pride, and restart. You can build lean into 3 main playstyles: heavy charge strikes, magic/spell interactions, or input-heavy rhythm combos where missing a frame ruins your damage output. The combo depth and build synergy are widely praised by character action and action roguelite fans. Recent playtesting feedback points to a heavier, slightly deliberate movement feel, with active polish ongoing for boss AI, invincibility frames, and hit fluidity. Another beat-em-up roguelite is Wendigo Blue. Set in the same universe as Valdi's story, players take on the role of members of the Vanguard. Reyna, the goddess of death, has kept the realm safe from invading foreign pantheons for decades, but her barrier is failing due to traitorous cultists. Your job is to defend your home from invading gods, their commanders, and cultist armies through branching city-wide invasion runs. The game also supports up to 4-player local co-op, so make sure you have a friend or girlfriend if you want to play on this one.
El ninja más cabrón rises.
Mexican Ninja is a fast-paced 2.5D beat-em-up roguelike that takes place in Nuevo Tokyo, a neon-soaked, chaotic metropolis born from a fictional collision of Japanese and Mexican cultures. In this world, Mexican cartels and Japanese yakuza merge to form a ruthless ruling regime known as the Narcuzas. As the titular Mexican ninja, you join a local resistance movement to take down the 5 syndicate bosses who control the city. The game features a persistent skill tree called the Way of the Donkey, where training with El Mero Mero Sensei unlocks new permanent combos, movement options, and combat traits. Mad King Redemption is a 2.5D beat-em-up roguelite. The game blends side-scrolling hack-and-slash arcade action with randomized runs, meta progression, and dark fantasy lore. Set in a kingdom plunged into darkness after the king used forbidden sorcery to resurrect his late queen, only to be consumed by dark magic and driven mad. You play as sin-bearing warriors who must fight hordes of corrupted monsters to reach the Mad King, relieve him of his madness, and earn their own redemption. The game supports both local split-screen and online co-op multiplayer, allowing players to coordinate positioning, chain abilities, and manage enemy swarms together. Toxic Crusaders is basically this super weird 90s cartoon where a bunch of gross radioactive mutant heroes fight toxic aliens with mops and garbage. Back in the day, it got a couple of classic beat-em-up video games on the Genesis and NES, but recently it got a huge modern revival game that plays just like TMNT, Shredder's Revenge. It's a super chaotic 4-player arcade brawler where you and your friends pick a mutant, run around smashing bad guys with crazy combos, and trash everything on screen in vibrant pixel art. It's totally silly, low-key hilarious, and pure arcade chaos. Final Night is an indie side-scrolling beat-em-up action RPG with roguelike mechanics developed by 2 O'Clock Soft and published by Gravity. Inspired by classic arcade brawlers, Dungeons & Dragons tabletop mechanics, and monster hunting dynamics, it mixes party-based combat with tactical, real-time swapping. You assemble a 4-character party out of 9 distinct fantasy. Beyond combat roles, tank, DPS, support, characters have alignment, background, and trait synergies that grant unique passive bonuses when matched properly. For more strategic control, the game features a time stop feature reminiscent of CRPGs, allowing you to freeze action mid-battle and issue targeted commands to party members. Detained, Too Good for School is basically what happens if you throw River City Girls and Persona into a blender, sprinkle in a heavy dose of juvenile delinquency, and tell the protagonist to start beating people up. You play as a bad-tempered female delinquent who just got released from juvie. Instead of turning your life around like a boring NPC, you get thrown right back into high school chaos trying to clear your name, pay off debts, and break faces. You get a deep action RPG combat system with customizable skill trees, weapons, and combos. You can throw hands, swing pipes, or summon support characters to wreck rival gangs, corrupt cops, and school bullies. Muramasa, Revenant Blades is an upgraded remaster and complete collection of Vanillaware and Marvelous's classic 2D action RPG V beat-em-up, originally released as Muramasa, the Demon Blade on the Wii, and later expanded as Muramasa Rebirth on the PS Vita. Set in Edo period Japan, you're slicing through yokai demon ninja and giant monsters in classic, gorgeous, hand-drawn Vanillaware fashion. You play as either Momoheim, a princess possessed by a vengeful samurai soul, or Kisuke, an amnesiac fugitive ninja hunted for a crime he can't remember. The combat is high-speed hack-and-slash beat-em-up action. Swords break when you overuse specials or block too much, forcing you to swap blades mid-combo while the offhand ones regenerate. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Dragon Pearl of Destruction. It's a 2-player local co-op brawler, so you can force your buddy to sit on the couch and pretend it's 1989 again. In this game, you start with Raw Beef He-Man, Agile Teela, and Heavy Tech Man-at-Arms, and if you actually finish the game, you can unlock She-Ra for Round 2. You'll beat up bad guys across the Royal Palace, the Vine Jungle, and down into Snake Mountain. The sprite art actually looks like classic 80s or 90s Capcom arcade cabinets instead of lazy modern graphics. So if you've played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, you know the drill. Gorgeous, oversized pixel art, screen clearing special moves, and mindless button mashing until your thumbs bleed. Acts of Blood is an upcoming third-person beat-em-up action game developed by the Indonesian indie studio. You play as Hendra, a law student whose world shatters after his family is murdered by his father's powerful business rival. After realizing the corrupt legal system actively protects the perpetrators, Hendra abandons the courtroom to take justice into his own hands, carving a path of vengeance through Bandung's underworld. The game has a fluid martial arts that focuses on bone-crushing hand-to-hand combos, parries, counters, and context-sensitive finishers. Towerborne. It's a side-scrolling action RPG brawler developed by Stoic, yes, the same devs who made the Banner Saga, so try not to act too surprised that the art style actually looks good. Think of it as what happens when Castle Crashers grows up, gets an ARPG loot addiction, and decides to start working out. You play as an ace, an immortal warrior whose sole job is to step outside the safe haven of the Belfry and beat up a post-apocalyptic monster horde so refugees don't get eaten. And yup, the game supports up to 4 players. You can play solo if you have no friends, or hop into local/online co-op so you can blame your teammates when everyone wipes. If you heard rumors that this was going to be a free-to-play live service grindfest, congrats, you're out of date. Lost Castle 2. It's a side-scrolling action roguelike beat-em-up where you play as a treasure hunter running through corrupted, monster-infested castles and biomes. You crawl through stages, beat down waves of enemies, collect loot, die horribly, and do it all over again. You can play solo, but bringing up to 3 friends is where the real circus starts. You will accidentally knock bosses into your allies, scream over who gets the legendary drop, and wiped out entirely because nobody was paying attention to the giant AoE attack coming straight for the squad. If you like chaotic beat-em-ups, loot-driven build crafting, and games that punish you for button mashing like a toddler, go play it. And that's it for today. Those were List Top 25 Best Upcoming Beat-em-up Games You Should Add to Your Wishlist 2026 to 2027. Got a hidden gem I didn't mention? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video or discovered a new title to add to your collection, feel free to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss future content. Once again, if you want to buy games with cheap price, the link in the description, okay. So, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.